Hey guys, it's Bob Fergen. I'm back with another 8-minute call, and I'm going to take you on a short version of how I started earning $2 million a year in direct sales, in online sales. So, in any case, just to kind of start this off, a little bit about my story. I'm the guy who worked his way to the top in several large organizations, eventually becoming the president and CEO for several large national restaurant chains. Never finished school, which I'm glad of. Have about 2.5 years of college. I don't know what it would have done for me. Maybe it would have screened me in on some applications. I don't know. In any case, I'm now kind of past that corporate America phase in my life. And here's a beautiful shot of morning in Orlando. Look at the reflection over there. That is beautiful. So, in any case, I had done my corporate America thing, really wanted to do more of an entrepreneurial thing, and started several businesses, owned my own chain of restaurants in Miami. I was involved in hotels and restaurant and hotel management, just a lot of businesses related to hospitality. You probably remember the Great Recession of 2008 through 2010, ended up losing everything. And prior to that, my wife at the time had joined a direct sales company, and she was doing okay. And so I'm kind of watching her, and she drags me to events, and I'm seeing people make crazy money, like hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. I have a lot of troubles in my businesses. They're all struggling, barely making payroll, tax problems, all sorts of stuff. And so I'm just looking at normal human beings making the kind of money I wanted to make. And I just said, hey, if they can do it, I can do it. So that was the very first thing. That was actually a decision, not just words out of my mouth. If they can do it, I can do it. I'll just do exactly what they're doing. Of course, I'm a different person, different personality, put my own spin on it. And that was number one, the decision I was going to do the business. Number two was I started making a lot of mistakes. I mean, tons and tons of mistakes. And they weren't freaking me out. I didn't quit because people started making fun of me. I just kept making mistakes, and I made a lot of mistakes. And that's a whole nother video. But also at the time, I put myself on a serious personal growth journey, like intense. Like I was buying 2 or 3 books a month, and I'll teach you about how I read books in the future. But basically, if it's a business related or leadership or communications or interpersonal skills book, I'm just skimming for the stuff I want, and highlighting that in the book. I probably reread those things 2 or 3 times over the next year. So I'm pumping that into me. I'm going to success seminars. Listening on tape back then to all sorts of leadership trainers and communication skills and sales training, all that. So a ton of personal growth. And one of those was learning about manifestation, law of attraction, because you tend to attract who you are. And so I'm growing, that's attracting better people. Again, in the beginning, it was messy, it was gooey, I was making lots of mistakes, but I then started settling in on a few disciplines. Number one, there would never be a day go by where I didn't put effort into my business. I had a business, and I could not treat it as a hobby. I had to treat the business as a business. So that was a mindset thing. That was a decision. I was going to persist without exception. And Andy Andrews saying, persist without exception, meaning I was going there. Number 3 or whatever I'm on, I set ridiculously high goals. There were literally people making 1.5 million plus or minus a year in my company, Again, that's where my head was at. When I went to the events and stuff, I actually sat with the top earners and I got to learn and meet all the top earners. I took advantage of every opportunity to speak at an event or to help others with presentations or in-home meetings, or back then it was conference calls, not Zooms. So I gave to others and freely gave to others and willing to teach. I took on higher levels of leadership. This thing you're listening to, I started back then in teaching people how to be successful in direct sales and online selling. I took lots of risk. You know, the company did not want us doing anything online back then. I did online. You know, I every way that I could reach humans with my story, with my products and my opportunity, I did it. Every way you could do that, I did it. But I became maniacal. Like, I was obsessed. I was so focused. I was in the zone for 3 or 4 years, like head down, focused. That didn't mean I wasn't being friendly. I certainly missed lots of opportunities and other things I could be doing, because there's clearly a transference. You can't keep doing what you're doing and get some other result. And so focus. I didn't focus on what others were doing, but I knew what they were doing, because that kept giving me further conviction or things I wanted to stay away from. And I made the people on my team feel great 7 days a week. I gave them the most incredible incentives, way above what the company's incentives were. I gave them lots of attention, conversations regularly. I gave them lots of training and opportunities for personal growth. I helped people become leaders. All those things. Now, that's what I was doing, as well as every morning I was being thankful for what I had. Every morning I was writing out my goals. Every morning I was looking at my vision board, and every morning I was speaking life into my preferred, better future. All of that pointing towards being the number one earner in that company. I never made it to be the number one earner. I made it to be the number two earner, even though I joined that company, I think it was 11 or 12 years after its existence, and the number one people had been there pretty much from the beginning. I'm not bragging. God gets all the glory for what just came out of my mind. So that's a lot of information to tell you. I had systems. I was committed to those systems. I was committed to those people. I did whatever it took for others to win. And in my last few years there, I was earning over $2 million a year. I'm not bragging. But the most important thing that happened was my belief. As I did all those things, and especially as I did things for others, serving and helping other people, especially people I could never benefit from, my paycheck kept growing. And I kept seeing over $2 million a year. And I think if you annualize my last half a year there, that would have been over $3 million. Again, not bragging. Excuse me, I have a head cold. God gets all the glory for that. So, guys, that's a lot of information. And you can just narrow that all down to what's important to you, what you want in your life, how you want to live your life. But I'm Joe Average. I'm not better than. I'm just willing to do whatever it takes to be successful. And that was a formula right there to help you do whatever you want to do in your life. Apply it to whatever you want to accomplish. It definitely takes the decision. It takes the commitment. It takes the work ethic. It takes the belief and the faith. It takes the desire to put others first to win at that kind of level. Hey, God bless. Have a great day.